We tried intermittent fasting with MCT oil for 30 days, and does the science really match up with what happened in practice? By the end of this video, you'll know what is the science for intermittent fasting and MCT oil, and is it a scam? What's fact versus myth? And the answer to some common questions. Does MCT oil break your fast? How long does it relate to weight loss? Why does it cause me to poop so much? What actually happened when Lucy tried it for 30 days and what it feels like in practice? Who this is for and who is it not for? How to best use MCT oil for your intermittent fast should you decide to try it? And what to expect when doing it. Also, a quick announcement that Lucy and I are doing a free giveaway of our book, Lose Fat and Gain Muscle on Your Terms. All you have to do is comment Viva below, and every Friday we're going to pick a winner and you're going to win this book in the ebook format. And another free thing, enrollment for our free intermittent fasting workshop is open now. This is going to be a pretty hands-on workshop, so we have to cap how many students we can take on. If you're interested, I urge you to enroll right now. All right, now back to this video. What's intermittent fasting and why do people do it? Intermittent fasting is a pattern of eating where you limit the time you allow yourself to eat to only a couple of hours of the day or even a couple of days of the week. For example, you can allow yourself to only eat 8 hours of the day, say from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Or you eat 6 days a week and fast for 24 hours on the 7th day. Basically, it doesn't change what you eat, but when you eat it. Almost everyone agrees that water, tea, black coffee, and 0-calorie sweeteners, since those have 0 calories or trace amounts of calories, are okay to have. Others say it's okay to have food as long as it's less than 50 calories, so it won't break your fast. So why do people do intermittent fasting? What are the benefits? The most common reason is to lose weight. It's a great way to get lean without having to consciously count calories or portion your food because you're simply going to eat less by cutting out entire meals from your typical day of eating. For example, if you're doing a fast of 16 hours a day and only eating within the 8-hour window, which is one of the most common ways of doing intermittent fasting, you will likely skip breakfast and only have lunch and dinner. There's another reason why some people choose intermittent fasting for weight loss. When you're in what's called a fasted state, your insulin levels are very low, which means your body prefers to burn energy rather than store it. Depending on how much you eat, your insulin levels can remain elevated from anywhere between 3 to 6 hours, so you may not enter a fasted state until 6 hours after your last meal. However, keep in mind that while being a fasted state can give you something of a boost in terms of fat burning, the boost is very small. If you overcompensate and eat too many calories later on, it will get stored as fat. The other reason people want to do intermittent fasting is just for overall general health and longevity. Fasting triggers a physiological process known as autophagy, which has to do with the destruction and cleanup of cells in the body. Studies have shown that this process can have anti-aging benefits. There are other benefits, but these are the most common ones.
What's MCT oil and why do people use it? MCT stands for medium-chain triglyceride and is a man-made type of oil that's primarily extracted from coconut oil, although it's found in other sources as well. While commonly used as a weight loss aid today, it was originally created to nourish people who had trouble absorbing other types of fat due to medical conditions. So what makes these MCT different than other oils? Why do people want to use it? Well, unlike other oils, MCT oil moves through your bloodstream a little differently. It goes directly to the liver and then gets transformed into ketones, which gets burned for energy. This leads people to believe that MCT oil will only burn fat and never get stored as body fat, which means you can have as much of it as you want and lose weight, right? This is unfortunately not true. What is true is that our bodies prefer to use MCTs for immediate energy than for fat storage. But like with any other food that has calories, and remember, calories equal energy. If there's nothing to expend that energy on, your body will eventually begrudgingly store it as fat. Anyway, as a last resort. Now in practice, this is really hard to do with MCT oil because you would need to consume a ton of it to force your body to store it as fat. However, while your body is busy metabolizing MCT oil for energy, any excess calories that you're also consuming, like those from other food, they aren't getting metabolized for energy and thus are still getting stored as fat. So that's like saying, hey, alcohol gets metabolized very quickly, which it does, so let's drink more alcohol to lose weight. Yes, alcohol does get metabolized quickly because your body wants to get rid of it as quickly as possible because it's a toxin. But while your body's doing that, guess what's it's not being converted into energy. The other food that you had eaten earlier in the day, it's just waiting around for its turn to get metabolized. And if it doesn't get metabolized for energy soon, it gets put into fat storage. So again, calories still matter. Even if calories from MCT oil gets burned off, it may be preventing other calories from the other food that you ate, from getting burnt off or getting burnt off as quickly. Of course, the science is more complex, but that's the high level understanding. Now, some people also claim that any unexpended energy from MCT oil gets excreted and therefore not stored. But we found no definitive research that actually proves this. If you find one, please do let us know. What we do know is that MCT oil, if not taken correctly or taken too much, can irritate the gut and cause a lot of pooping, and I mean a lot. But you're not actually pooping out the oil itself like some people think. I'll leave out all the gory details for later. I'm going to talk about my personal experience. Also, even if it's true that MCT oil burns fat and doesn't get stored as fat, just like you can't out-exercise a poor diet, you can't out-burn a poor diet with fat-burning oils or supplements of any kind. Now, unlike other fats, which are about 9 calories per gram, MCT oil actually comes out to be about 8 calories per gram because of the way they're digested differently. Still more calories than protein and carbs per gram, but if you're eating a lot of fats and oils and want to cut down on calories from that fat, this 11% difference may matter to you. Another cited benefit of MCT oil is that because it converts directly to ketones for energy, and ketones are associated with cognitive benefits, a lot of people take it for better focus. Finally, MCT has been shown to increase the release of hormones that promote the feeling of fullness in the body, so this can help you stay satiated between meals.
Now, why do people want to do intermittent fasting with MCT oil together? What are the benefits of combining the two? You can thank Bulletproof coffee for popularizing this trend. You see, traditionally people who try intermittent fasting and find it difficult to stick to because they get hungry before their first meal. While black coffee is allowed during your fasting window, it may still not be satiating enough for some people. Then came Bulletproof coffee, which is basically coffee plus MCT oil and other optional fats, claiming that it will satiate you and will still keep you in a fasted state. Here's what they say. If you consume fat only, no protein or carbs, during your fast, you won't interrupt autophagy and you'll stay in the fat-burning state for ketosis. It keeps insulin levels low enough to keep your body in a fat-burning state. But is that really true? Does MCT oil break your fast? The short answer is probably yes. The more nuanced answer is it depends on what you're fasting for, and the effect may not affect all people the same. First, if you're fasting for longevity benefits like autophagy, then yes, MCT oil breaks your fast because it does have calories, 130 calories per tablespoon. And it still does raise your insulin levels, which triggers metabolic activities in your body. However, this insulin spike is very small, which is likely the reason why Bulletproof claims that Bulletproof coffee does not break your fast. We don't really know for sure whether or not that's small enough to take people out of their fasting state. The truth is that there just needs to be more research on this topic. Based on a review of other studies and experts' commentary, it seems like the answer is probably yes. For most people, it can break your fast, but perhaps not for everybody. Again, more research is needed. If you're worried about MCT oil breaking your fast, instead of taking it in the morning, you can end your last meal of the day earlier. And try taking it with your last meal of the day so that it can keep you satiated for longer at the end of the day. Now, if you're fasting for weight loss purposes, then in practice, it's perfectly okay to take MCT oil so long as you limit it to just 1 tablespoon. Most people put it in their coffee and drink it as their first meal of the day. They're essentially replacing breakfast with a low-calorie beverage that's a good source of energy and is also satiating. It's a good strategy to keep you from eating higher calorie foods until later in the day when your eating window starts. Since there's so much debate and controversy out there, Lucy decided to give it a try for 30 days herself and see if it actually works as expected. What she found was that some things met expectations, others did not. And still more things occurred that she didn't even expect to have happen, both good and bad. So I'll turn it over to her now.
So I tried it for 30 days and here's what happened. For background, I've actually done intermittent fasting in the past for way longer than 30 days, so I've had a pretty good idea of what to expect from that already, but this was the first time I tried it with some MCT oil as well. And to be clear, you can learn a lot in 30 days, but it's not enough time for a lifestyle change. So if this is something you're serious about doing as a new way of eating for the long haul, understand that your body will continuously adapt to things or experience changes even beyond 30 days. I'm just sharing what I've learned. Also, half of this experiment occurred over the holidays, so Christmas, etc., where I had family visiting and we ate big meals and had snacks all the time. So I knew going into this, I was going to eat a lot of food during my eating window. I deliberately did not try to moderate my calories during these 30 days, so I ate what I felt like eating. That means for 50% of the times I ate above maintenance, because 50% of the time I was with my family celebrating the holidays, and then the other 50% of the time I was back home eating my usual meals. That way, hopefully you get an accurate picture of how fasting in MCT oil works when in a calorie surplus and not in a calorie surplus. Now, I didn't drink Bulletproof coffee. I didn't use MCT oil in coffee. Instead, I put it in some matcha green tea because I like that a little better. And what I did do was finish eating my last meal around 6 to 8 p.m. every day, and the next day I would have some MCT with my morning matcha around 10 a.m. in the morning, sometimes 11. So that's like a 14 to 16 hour fasting window. I would have my first solid food meal of the day then around noon or 1. All right, there were both good and not so good things that I experienced from this experience. So let's start with the not so good first. When I was starting, I took a tablespoon of MCT oil with my tea in the morning and thought that was a good way to start. Bad idea. I pretty much had diarrhea that entire day and couldn't sit properly for like the whole next day because of, too much cleanup. Anyway, some people think that when you get diarrhea from too much MCT oil is because your body didn't use up all the oil and is pooping it all out, but that's not actually how it works. As we explained earlier, the calories from MCT oil either gets burned for energy or stored as fat. An overdose on any oil can cause diarrhea or gut irritation. Oils have actually long even been used as a home remedy for constipation. MCT oil does specifically contain certain isolated fatty acids that are digested more quickly and may bother the gut lining more than other oils. So basically it acts as an irritant, and that's why your body has mechanisms to flush the gut. If you want to slow down the digestion, eat it with other food, but of course that will break your fast. Or build up your tolerance to MCT slowly. Start with 1 teaspoon, maybe 2, then maybe try a full tablespoon. That's what I ended up doing, and I dared not go past 1 tablespoon after my initial experience. I did not find it to help with weight loss in practice. Unsurprisingly, I still gained weight over the holidays and lost it afterwards. It's exactly the same 3 pounds I almost always gain and lose over the holidays. So despite taking about 1 tablespoon of MCT oil with my tea every day, I didn't notice much of a difference for my weight. For context, even though I only had 2 main meals a day, they were huge meals, and I also snacked a lot throughout the day. There were snacks everywhere. So I estimated that I ate anywhere from 200 to 500 calories over my maintenance per day. Now, it's possible that MCT oil might have helped me burn off just a few more calories per day than I usually would, but in practice, I gotta say it wasn't noticeable. And this should make sense if you are eating 200 to 500 calories over your maintenance every single day. No amount of fat burning supplement in today's modern world can burn all that off. Now, when I came back from vacation and I went back to eating the way I usually ate, then yes, I did lose weight because I started eating less calories again. Also, when you first start out with intermittent fasting, it's really easy to overdo the feeding part at the beginning of your feeding window because you're not used to being without food for so long. You may start to get hungry and kind of panic. So when it finally comes time for your first meal, it turns into a mindless binge. Not only can this absolutely cause weight gain if you overdo it, it can also cause really bad sluggishness and stomach upset. I definitely did this that first week for like the first 2 days or so, and really learned my lesson and moderated myself afterward. So please eat your meals as you normally do, even though you eat less of it. Don't binge. And I personally didn't notice any improvements in my workouts, but I also didn't consume the MCT oil that close to my workouts. So perhaps any boost in energy wore off by the time I made it to the gym. And finally, MCT oil is pretty expensive. So what were some of the good things that happened? Well, first, when I came back from vacation, as I said, I lost weight pretty quickly, and I think more quickly than I usually do when coming home home from vacation and going back to my regular routine. And I believe that has more to do with intermittent fasting. Now, because of my eating window, I was obviously skipping a meal a day, and that would be breakfast. So when I'm at home, I don't keep treats in the house, so I didn't snack on anything. So I pretty much only ate twice a day, maybe one snack in the late afternoon. My MCT matcha did make me feel fuller in the morning, and sometimes I didn't feel any need to have my first solid food meal until as late as 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. This means on those days, I really only had one meal a day, which meant I probably vastly underate on calories that day. It maybe helped with focus, but I'm not sure how much of it really made a difference because a lot of things were also happening. I believe it might be more due to the intermittent fasting that helped my body with focus because my body was not digesting a bunch of stuff and throwing me into a food coma. And the MCT helped me not be hungry. So not having so much food to digest and simultaneously not being hungry led to more focus. And I've done fasting in the past and notice I do focus more when my body is not digesting a bunch of food. But usually the focus gets broken when I am extremely hungry. The other thing is I felt that sleep helped a lot more than either MCT oil or intermittent fasting. There was a time where my sleep kind of went downhill a little bit and then my focus got all hazy as one would expect. And then when I got more sleep in, it rose back up again and my diet didn't change. So I would say whether or not there's any benefit from improved focus and cognitive function, that sleep overall is still key. One other thing I really liked about MCT oil itself is that it has no taste at all. So it really does go well with pretty much everything. Sometimes I used it in my smoothies too. The next one is a pro with fasting. It has nothing to do with MCT. It really helped me get more in tune with my hunger and satiety signals, which I did learn before when I had done intermittent fasting in the past, but it's good to be reminded once in a while. It really helped remind me how panic-inducing the fear of hunger can be if you're not mindful. And over time, I would say after the first 2 weeks, I felt hungry or cravings at all. I mean, they still happened, but it's rare. Your body adapts. But also, I wasn't eating as much sweets because the holidays were over, so that had to have something to do with it. And because I only had a limited time to eat, I appreciated what I ate a lot more, and I felt more mindful of what I was eating because I was only eating twice a day. All right, here are some recommendations and what to expect. You might want to try this if you want to lose weight and want some just simple black and white rules to follow. And you need an appetite suppressant to make it work better. Some people, for instance, take MCT oil after their last meal of the day to help tie them over to the next morning. If you eat a lot of fat already and most of your fat comes from oils, then it could be useful to replace them with MCT. You want a workout boost since MCT is readily converted into energy by the body. Once again, I personally didn't notice any increase in energy for myself, but your results may vary. You want more mental clarity and focus. Again, I attribute sleep more to my increased focus and maybe not overeating to the point of food coma to be more highly correlated with mental clarity. But your results may vary. And you're in good enough shape already. You don't actually care about losing weight specifically, but you just want to take your health up a notch by experimenting with hacks for fun. This was kind of the camp I was in. It's not for you if you want to lose weight and your main reason for overeating is emotional or environmental, like you eat out of anxiety or just because food is there and you feel compelled to grab it. There's a time and a place for all or nothing food rules like fasting. But if most of your overeating is emotional, then setting black and white food rules may make it worse, not better. I've also been there. Like, there was a time I could tell myself that I won't eat until noon, but as soon as someone brought donuts into the work, you can bet all self-control went right out the window. Intermittent fasting did not and would not have worked for me back then. And you don't need to do this if you can do intermittent fasting just fine without MCT oil. You don't really need to spend money on extra. And it's not for you if you have a sensitive gut. Remember, bad poop. So how to best use MCT oil for your intermittent fast should you decide to actually try it? First, introduce both gradually. Start with a larger eating window and a smaller fasting window. So if right now you eat from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that's a 12-hour eating window. So you might want to start with a 10-hour eating window next time instead of jumping straight to 6 or 8. And for MCT, start with very small doses first. So like 1 teaspoon, maybe half a tablespoon at first. I do not recommend going up to like 2 tablespoons on your first day. You can also choose a daily routine or just do it once in a while. So, for instance, this is my approach. First of all, I don't do MCT oil anymore because it's expensive and I didn't notice significant benefits. But I'll still do intermittent fasting once in a while, maybe once or twice a week. It just depends on how I'm feeling. Off days are okay, guys. Even Dave Asprey, the guy who actually founded Bulletproof and popularized MCT oil intermittent fasting, doesn't fast every day. And again, what to expect when doing it. Poops and possibly other gas problems, initial hunger pains, careful not to impulse binge after your feeding window starts. And it does get easier after a while. Your body may adapt, but the mileage varies for different people. Some people get a high immediately after they start fasting for the first time, but the high can wear off as it becomes more routine and you get used to it. And if you don't have your other habits like sleep and stress management and all the other foods you're eating dialed in, they'll still catch up to you. So, have you decided to give this a shot or have already been doing it? Comment below and let us know how your experience has been, or if there are other diets or programs you're curious to hear about. Let us know what they are in the comments below.
Again, Lucy and I are doing a free giveaway of our book, Lose Fat and Gain Muscle on Your Terms. All you have to do is comment Viva below, and every Friday a winner will get the book for free in the ebook format. And enrollment for our free intermittent fasting workshop is open now. This is going to be a pretty hands-on workshop, so we have to cap how many students we can take on. If you're interested, I urge you to enroll right now. Hey there! If you want to know when the next episode of Flat Stomach Scam and the real way to lose belly fat drops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell icon. Until then, keep crushing it!